When a marriage breaks down, we need to look at how the matrimonial assets are going to be divided, and that includes the pension pot. Now, the starting point in all these cases is really to identify what pensions exist, and that's not necessarily straightforward if one or both parties have had a number of jobs during the course of their lifetime. We've got to identify where those pensions are. Once we know what pensions exist, we need to find out what the value is. And normally we go to the pension company and ask for the value, and that's normally the transfer value or the cash equivalent benefits value. Now, once we've got that value, that may not be fair and accurate. So at that point, we need to make a decision as to whether we need to instruct an actuary or a financial advisor. I've dealt with numerous pensions from police, armed forces, NHS, private, final salary, underfunded pensions, and not all of the transfer values are in fact accurate or fair. So as I've said, we may need to get help and assistance from an actuary at that point. Once we're confident of what the true value of that pension pot is, then we need to decide how to deal with it. So if it's a short marriage, if it's a young couple, there may not be too much emphasis on the pension pot at all. But in a lot of cases, the pension fund can be valuable. In fact, it may be one of the most valuable assets from the marriage that's been built up during the marriage. So we need to look at how we're going to deal with that. Now, one possible way is for there to be a pension share, and that's where a percentage of the pension members' fund is transferred to the spouse. Now, that can only happen once you've got a court order. That can only happen once you've got your decree absolute in your divorce. And from that date, once that pension share has been implemented, the funds are run as two separate pots. And whether one party dies or remarries, it doesn't impact on the other person's pension fund. So that's one possible way, and has become incredibly popular over recent years. It may be that the most appropriate way to deal with the pension is in fact for one party to retain more of the assets and the pension member to retain their pension intact. So for example, if you have a case where one parent is to be the main carer of the children, they may retain the interest in the family home, and the other spouse may retain the pension pot. Every case is different, and we need to look at each case on its own merits, and pensions can be complex. So I think the message is really that you do need to take advice in your case.